I'm from Evolphin. My name is Evan Michaels. I'm the VP of Video Product Management at Evolphin. And so I'm working on their cloud product and also their video offerings. And to give you just a really quick overview of Evolphin, it was founded in 2007. Our media asset management system is used worldwide in companies all across the spectrum, from car manufacturers to television networks and media companies, design companies. It's very integratable with API hooks and plugins. We support the whole Adobe suite in our plugins and Cinema 4D as well. And of course, we integrate directly with Cloudian. So one of the things I'm going to talk about is how the level of integration that a MAM or archive service that you're looking for is very important when you're trying to decide what to buy. So can I get a show of hands? Who's here like a media manager or oversees the storage and archival of media? Yeah? Okay. And then any other video producers or video editors here? Okay. All right, great. So what I'm going to talk about is maybe a little high level, but if you want to dive deeper into the details, feel free to talk to me or any of the Cloudian people. We'd be happy to talk to you. So there are a lot of important things to think about when you're scaling your video production pipeline. And they might not be immediate needs now, while maybe you're a smaller company or a smaller pipeline, but the goal of any company is to be successful and grow, so you want to think about these scalability issues early on so that you don't have a lot of headache later. And so you're really going to need a media asset management system that's in there working at the ground level of all your production. You're going to need a managed archive system because hard drives and Excel spreadsheets just don't cut it anymore. You can have hardware transcoders, some cloud functionality, and obviously there's a lot more. But the ones I'm going to dive into are media asset management system and a managed archive system, because those are really the most important. They're going to have the biggest impact on your workflows. So this is a sample overview diagram of what a media asset management system architecture could look like. For example, you have an ingest server that when users bring video into the system, it says, what is it, where's it going, what should it do? And a lot of our customers will send it straight to archive for safekeeping, as well as transcode it to a house format and also a proxy. The house format goes to their SAN stores, the proxy goes to the MAM. Obviously, this is simplified and completely can be customizable to whatever you need. But the point is, there are a lot of moving parts, and that's why a MAM is so important, and an archive system that plugs into the MAM very well is so important. So why do you need an automated archive system? I'm going to talk a lot about automation because it takes a lot of the headache and effort out of managing your media. And so I mentioned hard drives and Excel. I was working at a company once where it was literally external hard drives on a shelf tracked in Excel spreadsheets. Who's done that, by the way? Anyone else have that? Yeah, I see. Yeah. It works, right? But not that well. And especially if your production increases dramatically, it becomes unmanageable. You can't search it, and one person can't manage that. You want to mitigate risk. You want to have everything automatically backed up so that you don't have to remember to back it up. As your company grows, one person can't keep up with this. I know a lot of companies where one guy was managing all the media, and then they hired 100 more people, and that one guy was still having to manage all the media. And so you need to think scalably at the beginning so that no matter how big you get, you can still be successful. And the analogy I like to think of is, it's like you're in a sinking boat with water coming in, and you're bailing it out with buckets, but more water's coming in. And so you need to stop spending so much of your time just bailing out that water, because you're just staying in the same place. And so automation can do that for you. Then why do you need a MAM? Because you might think, well, we don't really need a MAM. But first off, it securely manages your assets, so you know that they're, if your server goes down, for example, you know they're in multiple locations, so you don't have to worry about your server being fried. There's version control, so if someone uploads a new version of a cut that the client hates, you can not only find out who did it and slap them on the wrist, but also you can go back to the previous versions and you don't have to worry about it. You can easily collaborate with people outside the company, with people inside the company in different departments. And then there's consistency as well. A lot of times, I have a lot of experience with Adobe Premiere where if you have a bunch of formats from different cameras all over the place, your Premiere timeline starts getting more and more unstable. And so one thing a MAM can do is automatically take care of transcoding all of that media to a single format, so Premiere is a lot more stable. And also consistency on exports too, if all your uploaded video to your websites have to be a certain format. And the reason why the MAM is so important is it's involved in the work in progress, so it can know what to archive. So for example, if you want to archive a project with its media, the MAM can tell you, hey, that clip right there is also used in this project over here, so you can't archive it. Otherwise, it's too much to keep track of on your own. And so, again, you want to automate as much as possible and take this burden off of your shoulders so you can focus on doing the creative work and not focus on just keeping things running. The other thing a MAM does is higher searchability and a return on investment from shoots. If you spend $100 shooting really fancy cars in a racetrack and only use it for one video, then that was a $100 video. But if you're at a company that does a lot of videos about cars and you can reuse those clips, that cost gets spread out and you have a much higher return. And then I'm going to talk about managed storage tiering, so that your most expensive storage, the NAS or the SAN, is only used for the projects that need it. And you want the MAM to automatically take care of migrating projects to cheaper storage as needed, so you don't have to manually do it. You don't have to be emailing the producers and saying, hey, are you done with this? Because it needs to be moved off the SAN. Oh, I'm still working on it. You know, that whole back and forth that usually takes up so much of your time as a media manager doesn't have to happen with a MAM managing the storage tiering. So back to my boat analogy, you can't fix your sinking boat without knowing where the water's coming from, and a MAM helps you do that. So here's an example of storage tiering. I think there we go. And so, you know, you have your high cost storage that's faster and nearline and used for your projects. And, you know, this is a simplistic overview, but you can customize the number of steps you want. There's LTO, there's cloud. But the point is, to a user using the MAM, they shouldn't have to know where the media is to use it. So they should be able to preview it, and if they want it, they should be able to bring it back. But they don't have to worry about, oh, it's over here, so I have to have that guy, or I have to go in this server room to get it. You just make the request, and the MAM takes care of pulling it back, or pings the right people to ask for permission to bring it back. So you want to automate as much as possible. You want to automate the ingestion so that you don't have to manually copy all the camera cards coming in to storage for safekeeping and to the storage for people to edit. You want to just send the card to the MAM, and the MAM does it. You want to automate in transcoding of it. Producers can mark projects as done, and it'll automatically trigger an archive operation. Or you can do that when something's published. You can move older projects to different storage tiers. You can bring projects back online with the click of a button. You can distribute to different endpoints. If it needs to go to YouTube and Facebook and WordPress, you can have the MAM just automatically do all three of those when the project's done, and you don't have to worry about it. You have high availability disaster recovery plans. You shouldn't have to think about your disaster plans. The MAM should take the media, put it in a safe place, have it in multiple locations, and you shouldn't have to worry about it. So if your server crashes or someone spills something in the server room, you know your media is safe, and you don't have to think, oh man, did I move that, or is it going to be okay? So this is a short bullet list. There's obviously so much more that you can do. But the point is, if you just look at these items, that's as much, if not more, of a full-time job of one or more people that can just not have to be done anymore by a person. The MAM can just do this. So it frees up the man hours, it frees up people's time, and you can focus on being creative. So when you're looking for an archive solution, an important thing to look for is how easy it is to integrate with. So for example, Cloudian uses the S3 APIs, and any MAM that is worth getting knows how to integrate with S3. So you want to look at how much it can integrate, what it's currently integrating with, examples of that integration, and make sure that it talks to other systems. You want it to be easy to expand. Cloudian, it's really easy to just keep adding storage to it, because maybe you think you only need 100 terabytes of archive now, but down the road, you might not realize it, but in a year you might need 200 terabytes. So you want it to be really easy to expand. You want it to be able to scale to multiple locations. So right now you might have just an office in Las Vegas, for example, but a year or two from now, maybe your company's super successful and you open an office in New York, or you open an office in California. And so you don't want to have to then go back to all your archive and buy a new solution. So you want to be thinking about that ahead of time. Obviously, you want it to be reliable. And so, here's an example of how Cloudian can accept formats from all different locations. And so that's kind of the resiliency of Cloudian, is that it doesn't matter where it's coming from or what it is, it can work with it. And then here's an example of how you can just keep adding racks to Cloudian, and it just works. And they also have connections to the cloud as well. But you want this option. You don't want to have to go back to the drawing board every time you need to expand. And then what to look for in a MAM, again, easy integration. So integrations with the apps that you use, APIs, connections to archives. Does it integrate with CMSs, or can you customize it? You want it to be customizable, because every single company is going to have different CMSs, different systems. So you want a MAM that can talk to it all. And you also don't want to be boxed into a MAM that only talks to what you have, because then when you add a new thing later and you find out it can't talk to it, or it costs a lot of money to customize the talking to it, that'll be a problem. Easy to expand, similarly, and ability to scale to multiple locations, and reliable, of course. And also, the other thing to think of is the MAM is going to be the UI for the archive. So, a user is going to be searching for media within the MAM and then pulling things back from the archive through it. If you don't have a MAM talking with the archive, it might be a little bit harder to be pulling things back depending on what their GUI is, what kind of interface they have. And again, you want to automate as much as possible. Automate ingestion, the disaster recovery, the distribution, the backup, the restoring. These are full-time jobs that people waste so much of their time on that the MAM can just handle, and people can be freed up to do better creative work. So for example, Evolphin has integrations with the whole Adobe Cloud. Here's the Premiere panel where you can see preview clips. There's the After Effects panel. The Premiere panel allows switching between proxies with a single click of a button. We also have integrations with Cinema 4D and Sketch. And here's an example of one of our customers that uses what we call Zoom Nonstop to sync 3 databases together. So they have an office in China, in Germany, and the US, car manufacturer, and all of their databases have the same exact information all the time, and the users don't have to think about it. So it's amazing. The designers in one country can work with the other, and they're all synced up. And so that's another benefit that a MAM can provide. Sorry, a little helicopter. So this is an example of how you can restore without needing to know where the media is. You just click restore. You can work with the proxies in the meantime while it's being restored. So, in summation, you want to automate as much as possible. The storage tiering should happen in the background so you don't even have to think about it. It needs to be scalable, and it needs to ensure the safety of your media, and above all else, help people work faster and smarter. So if you just think of these things while you're looking for the products, and even if you don't need scaling now or automation now, look for products that have them, so then when you are more successful and are more challenged with your workflow, you'll be in a good place. So that's it for the overview, but I'm happy to answer more direct questions.